Hello, everyone, and we're back with more Kotaku. So let's just dive right in. That Dragon Cancer's developers are okay with asshole Steam discussions. I always love Kotaku article titles. They never fail to just show how stupid Gawker is. That's here. I guess this is an image from the game. I haven't seen too much of this game. I've seen some screenshots, a couple of videos, but not much. Honestly, I don't think it. I'm not even a graphics guy. Like a game doesn't have to have amazing graphics for me to enjoy it. But this does not look good at all. That Dragon, Cancer, is a powerful story about a tragic moment in the lives of the Green family. Their son, Joel, was diagnosed with cancer at 12 months old, which is very sad. That kind of goes without saying. The conversation on the game's Steam forums has focused on the morality of making a game about that. Interestingly, the developers are letting it happen. I'm curious as to how that's remotely interesting at all. It's just a discussion. I mean, this is a very deep topic, I guess you could say. It's something that many of us have to deal with in our own lives, whether it's, ourselves or a family member or a friend, someone we know. People get sick. That's life. Of course, when it comes to somebody's death, they're going to question the morality of potentially, I guess, capitalizing on it. Right now, the forums are a shit show, a mixture of people defending the game's artistry, others seemingly concerned about what the game represents, and opportunistic trolls happily tossing matches and hoping one lights up. I really can't stand how poor behavior on the internet these days is always blamed on trolls. At what point does somebody have to, take responsibility for their actions? Why is it always just, oh, chalk it up to those trolls? And that's one of the things that has bothered me recently online, even with these hashtag controversies with things like Gamergate and stuff like that. I hate it when somebody's idiotic behavior is always blamed on a troll. They're like, "Oh, you can't pin that on us. That's just those trolls, those third-party trolls." Who are you to tell somebody else what they identify as? Which is interesting because people are always telling feminists not to identify somebody else as a certain label, and yet these people on the flip side will go about and label somebody a troll just because they have behavior they disagree with or behavior they don't want to be associated with. It's like, no, it's coming from your group because they identify as part of that group. You can denounce them, but it doesn't make them any less part of it. It's a volatile mix that's not exactly leading to thoughtful conversation, but in an attempt to keep an open mind, the developers at Numinous Games, which includes the Green family, decided not to lock threads or delete comments. Well, I think that's admirable. They're doing what normal people should do, allow for discussion on a message board. Isn't that what they're for? I mean, what the hell is the point of a board if all you're going to do is have a bunch of agreeable people just circle jerking each other all day? It makes no sense. I mean, this is how real life works. People have differing opinions. They share those opinions. They discuss those opinions. And maybe eventually they'll come to some sort of conclusion in between the so-called shit show. Hi, everyone. As we're reading through the forums to answer questions and support players, we're seeing some locked threads and frustration about missing comments. We just want you to know that as far as we're concerned, you have the right to believe and say what you want. We do not currently lock threads or delete comments. If you are seeing any, we did not do it. It's our understanding that sometimes Steam moderators may lock threads. That said, our hope is that you find some common humanity on this board. We all suffer, we all have pain. Our hope is that at the very least, our existence on this store can inspire personal conversations that draw us together rather than divide us. Thank you for your support and your passion, Ryan. Ryan is Joel's father. Unfortunately, I think Ryan here is a bit too optimistic in his faith in the internet. I mean, honestly, a game titled That Dragon Cancer should be about battling internet comment sections. Some of that is out of their control. However, as Steam-appointed moderators will take action if things are found to be violating the service's terms of service. I'm getting tongue-tied because appointed moderators will take action if things are found to be okay. That's just, I thought I saw something weird in the wording, but I guess I'm just getting a brain fart from reading Kotaku. When games of a certain type come out, there's usually a debate over whether it's a game. It happened with Gone Home, it happened with Depression Quest, it'll happen with something else. People seem to have skipped past that with That Dragon Cancer and began questioning the motives of the people who built it. To be honest, though, from what I've seen of this game, it doesn't seem like it's much of a game. There doesn't appear to be too much actual gameplay. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it really doesn't appear to be all that interactive. It appears to be more of a story-driven game, which is fine. I mean, there are obviously people that are interested in that, but I do kind of feel like these things, Depression Quest, Gone Home, they kind of fall into that, like a weird pseudo-game category. I'm not ready to condemn. Here's a first comment. I'm not ready to condemn or condone what has been done with this game without more information, but I am uncomfortable not knowing whether this work is a catharsis and memorial or whether it is an exploitive money grab. Having lost my father to cancer and being a new father, the theme of this game really resonates with me, but I have to know, is someone making money on these feelings and emotions just because they can, or is there a higher purpose? Well, how would you ever really prove that either way, to be honest? I think you should just, at some point, you kind of just have to trust in people. And I feel like an exploitive cash grab would be a little bit more apparent just because the story probably wouldn't grab you as much. I don't think it's the type of emotion that would be easy to fake, I guess. There are dozens of comments I could have picked from, but it's hard to know who's being sincere. In this case, it does seem like they are genuinely interested. To be clear, while That Dragon Cancer is intended to make money, they spent several years of their life making it. It's also intended to contribute to charity. I guess that's a good thing. And they put work into it. So whether it comes from a personal place or not, which most art does, I don't think it's necessarily, it's not like it's inherently wrong for them to make money off of it. They did put work into it, and I don't know how true it is, but I believe they put their actual day jobs aside to work on this, so they may have even lost money. Ouya was an early investor in the game's development, but Ouya was eventually bought up by Razer. If you buy the game through Ouya's storefront or Razer's Cortex platform, Razer's proceeds are being distributed to different charities picked by the Greens, the Morgan Adams Foundation, and Family House SF. Additionally, 10% of the profits for Steam keys bought through Humble Bundle are being donated to the Morgan Adams Foundation, which I guess kind of makes it more of an incentive for people to purchase it, because then not only are they getting the emotional story they want in a game, like they're also contributing to helping people that are in need, which, it's always a good thing, I guess. This is all public information, and yet, here comes a great one. Not only are they monetizing death, they're celebrating it. And it has links to joelevangreen.com, and then it takes a quote. A few months after Joel died, I decided that I had no interest in celebrating the anniversary of his death. I did not understand why so many people focused on such a terrible day. I had no interest in remembering the day he died. If I had my way, we would let it slip by unacknowledged, forgetting the exact date altogether if we could. However, as I was thinking these things, a new thought slipped into my spirit. God's answer to my resistance. It's not just the anniversary of the day Joel died, it's also the anniversary of the day Joel entered heaven, and that is worth celebrating. It stuck. And then this guy goes on to say, they're happy. They're happy that their son died and went to heaven, and they're profiting off of it. I don't know how much this forum has to point out that these people are awful people for everyone else to finally get it. I'm surprised there's not a rant about atheism in there. Okay. Are you truly this obtuse, or do you have to work at it? I mean, is that the kind of thing that comes natural, or do you have to really study hard? I wonder, because how come it's so hard for these people to separate these sentiments that they may not agree with from the message? There was no stopping this kid from dying, right? And these are the parents. wouldn't they want to believe that if their son had to die, that he would go somewhere nice and peaceful? I would think so. But forgive me. I might be just too much of a creationist. Jeez. I just don't understand why that's so hard to understand. That sounded a little bit redundant, but you get what I mean. What's worth remembering is how easy it is for a few people to dominate a conversation. That poster in particular has obsessed over this topic despite their own Steam profile showing they don't own a copy of the game. Granted, they technically could have purchased that Dragon Cancer on another platform, but they probably didn't. Take a look. Let's see. It's just a bunch of comments from the same person, and it goes on and on too, and yet this person is not alone. OP, I had the same first reaction. I find it distasteful. I find a positive way of looking at the situation being that the funds raised from this game, in quotes, can go towards paying off the likely insane medical fees and raising their other children. Fair enough. I fully agree with you, OP. This might have been acceptable if the developer actually put some heart and effort into it and made a true work of art, like so many great novels or poems about the personal tragedies, which some people keep erroneously comparing this to. But as it is now, it's just a lazy cash-in, a collection of badly made 3D models, guilting people into giving positive reviews. It's disgusting to say the least. The parents have my full sympathy for the tragedy, but I will not be supporting their paying for this game unless they find a non-selfish purpose for the profits. Well, the 3D models do look pretty awful. And, I mean, the fact that it's a powerful story, a heart-wrenching story, doesn't necessarily make it a quality product or a good game. I feel like a lot of people, to be fair, probably are getting really into this because of the idea that when someone is suffering, you have to sympathize. And that can be difficult if you're not connected to the situation. I mean, granted, it's a video game. You can use your imagination. And that's what they did in creating a game based off of real events. But I don't think that when it comes to a video game, for me anyway, a story that presents itself as being about a heavy topic doesn't necessarily make it a good game. I like good stories. I like powerful stories. I like emotional stories. However, the way in which they are presented or written is equally important because that's ultimately what determines whether it's good or not. I mean, just because a subject is sad in general, it doesn't mean everything based off of that subject is going to be a quality product. Everything I've read about that Dragon Cancer suggests its creation was a form of catharsis for the Green family, an avenue to cope with the nightmare in front of them. They strike me as genuine people who love their son, and while it's true that Dragon Cancer is a heavy subject for a game, it's one I'm celebrating. Well, that's your opinion, but I personally wouldn't celebrate a game just because of its topic matter. I would celebrate it because it's a good game and it presents the topic matter in a relatable light. In fact, that's how many people feel, despite what the Steam forums hint at. As a child of a parent who succumbed to cancer a few years ago, playing this game was cathartic. I really hate when people always frame their comments with "as a" insert label. In a sense, the pain that the Greens went through were several degrees worse than when my father fought for his life. Every hope and anguish is stiflingly recreated or recorded in real life, making this game one of the most heart-wrenching games for 2016. Already, it's like it's only January, and we're already starting with the 2016 nonsense. So, obviously, somebody... I think this is where some of those Steam people are coming from. They kind of feel like maybe the creators are putting this out there to kind of emotionally manipulate people into buying the game because it'll be something they can relate to. But that's not really fair to assume without any kind of proof at that, because these people could be completely genuine, caring people that really want to provide a game and a story that someone can relate to and take comfort in and say, hey, we had this struggle. Maybe since you've been through it too, you can also relate. When I asked the developers about everything that's happened, about the hateful questions and accusations slung their way, they stuck to their guns. Our game has always been a difficult project for some people to relate to, said the developers in a joint statement. We understand that it is not for everyone. Throughout development, there's been a lot of discussion around the internet about what our intentions are, and whether or not we are creating something that is acceptable and good. Well, I think that they should be free to create whatever it is they want to create, and the market can decide whether it's good. People can decide whether it's good. Individuals can decide whether it's good. It doesn't appear they'll be changing their policy on Steam or anywhere else. Instead, they're going to allow that dragon cancer to speak for itself, which I think shows that they stand behind their product. And while people may say that it's not great, while I even may say it doesn't look great, this goes to show that, at the very least, they're not looking for blind agreement. We knew that if we were to step in and make statements to defend our intentions, it would have a dampening effect on the conversation, they said, and we love good conversation and debate. We love that people are talking about what games can be, what makes something art, and how we should value each other's work. We don't want that conversation to stop happening, and if we have to deal with a handful of malicious forum posts in order for that conversation to continue to happen, we are willing to turn the other cheek. I think that's awesome, because people very often aren't able to do that. And not only that, but there are instances where, these jackasses that don't really have a horse in the fight either way will come in, start trouble. They don't really care. They just want to be dicks where they can in life, and that's their goal on the internet. And they just want to be assholes to people. So I can kind of understand where they're coming from in not wanting to allow that to ruin what the game is about, what they want the discussion to be about. They want it free and open, which is great. For the moment, the developers are focused on fixing bugs and gathering feedback, the typical motions one goes through after a game has just launched. We have crafted something that we are proud of, they said. It cost us a lot emotionally, psychologically, and financially, but giving our son Short Life this kind of platform has been worth everything it cost us, because sharing our love for Joel is worth any amount of hardship. To some, that will only underline what they loved about the game in the first place. To the ridiculous cynics, it may only reinforce what they've been worried about all along. I feel bad for those people. Not the worst piece I've ever read on Kotaku, though I really don't care for the tagline too much, but that's just the way this website operates. But I think from that final statement, it kind of shows that ultimately they were looking for a way to give meaning to their son's passing. And whether or not we think that's a good game or their product is worth buying, there are going to be, I'm sure there will be some people that, legitimately like it. And if you don't like it, just don't buy it. I mean, I'll probably never buy it. I'll probably never play it. I think it's a sad topic. It doesn't interest me that much, to be honest. Although, who knows? Maybe it would affect me in some way. I do tend to connect to sadder stories. So, really, I don't think that anything... Honestly, I don't see why this was even reported on in a way. The only thing that I think was worthy of mention was the fact that the developers aren't censoring conversations, and they are allowing for anything to be discussed, whether that's criticism, people just coming in to be assholes, or support, which is the way it should be. Everybody should be able to have their say in what they think, and other people are free to agree, disagree, or flat out ignore them. But at the very least, they are not blocking people, and I think that shows that they stand behind their product. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.